Hey crafty peeps, I'm Lisa, your dollar mom, and today we're going to make a riser and a tier tray, both out of picture frames. And you probably have picture frames lying around much like I do, and so I hope you can repurpose them for this project. If you don't, you can buy them inexpensive for $1 to be exact at the Dollar Tree. In fact, the riser I made out of a Dollar Tree frame. So I would hope that you would like and subscribe because it would mean so much to me. And let's get on to today's project. For this project, you're going to need these plastic shot glasses from Dollar Tree, a picture frame, some chalk paint or paint of your choice, and some contact paper, also purchased from the Dollar Tree. Because this isn't your typical flat picture frame, I'm going to flip it over and make the flat side on the back. And the reason I didn't use a regular flat frame is just because I really love this blue. It matched with my decor and then I wouldn't have to paint the frame. So with most frames, you're going to use the front of the frame because that will be your flat spot. So right now I'm just kind of piecing this together to see how it's going to become flat. And once I decide how I'm going to get my pieces together, I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to take all the hardware and pieces off of this backing. Now you're going to want to snip each corner, and this will just help give you a nice even wrap around your flat surface. And while I'm doing this, please look at the end of this project. You will see another flat frame riser that I made where I wrapped the glass and used the front of the frame instead. And then instead of the shot glasses for legs, I use little wood pieces that I found at the Dollar Tree. And now that that's covered, we're going to take 4 of the shot glasses and we're going to cover them in paint. Now I probably should have done this step first just to give them more drying time. And the reason you might choose chalk paint over acrylic paint is that it dries faster. It took me 2 coats of paint on these glasses. Now I'm going to move back to attaching this piece into my frame. As you'll see here, if I were just to attach it just like this, it wouldn't be flat. And that would be okay. It doesn't have to be flat, but I wanted mine to be flat. And so in order to do this, I'm going to cut out a piece of foam board, so it just gives it a little more thickness and brings it up so that it's flat. And I actually cut out 2 of these pieces of foam board because I'm going to need to put one on the bottom side as well to keep it flat. Now again, if you're doing a flat picture frame, you will not need to do this step. Okay, and now I'm going to just attach it all together. I will just hot glue this piece of foam board into my frame, and then I will repeat that step with the top. And let me just for a second talk about this glue gun. It is a cordless glue gun. It has a base that you can keep it on, keeps it charged, and then you can take it off for up to 2 minutes. Most of the time I just put it right back on the charger, but it's so nice because I don't have a cord constantly getting in my way or getting twisted. And as you'll see right here, I just lay it down just on my workstation for a minute because I know I'm going to be taking less than 2 minutes to use it. And I will link that in the description. It's the SureBonder cordless glue gun, and I got it off Amazon. Wonderful, wonderful tool to have in my crafting. Now I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to glue this piece in, and that will become my bottom. Now I'm just kind of rubbing off some of the glue stick that kind of, you know, oozes out. Thankfully that's very easy just to rub off. And now it's time to attach the legs. I just take the 4 shot glasses, I line them up just to kind of see where I'm going to want them. And you can see here why it's important that I added that piece of foam board so that it had a place to attach the legs. And once you decide where you want your legs, just hot glue them on. There's so many options you can use for legs. You can use wooden balls, you can use pieces of wood, you can use the tumbling blocks. There's just endless ideas you can have. I literally walked around Dollar Tree and I was like, I could use that as legs, I could use this as legs. So it's just kind of fun to see what you can use. This is the most affordable way. You can see how many I could probably make out of that package of shot glasses. And voila, there's our riser. And here's the riser in my decor. And this is the flat frame one I was talking about earlier that I had made previously, and with the same contact paper. Now on to the tier tray. For this project, you're going to need 2 picture frames. You're going to need some needle nose pliers. You're going to need paint, some E6000, and a candlestick. I picked this candlestick up at a garage sale, and they're usually easy to find at thrift stores. You're also going to need some thin cardboard pieces, and this is going to help with getting your frame flat again. Now for this project, we are going to use the back of the frames because we want a flat surface. So just like in the previous project, I'm going to take off all the hardware and ickiness off the back so that I have a nice flat surface. And then I'm going to take my flat piece of cardboard, cardstock. I guess it's not card, it's what comes with cardstock, so just a little bit thicker. And I'm going to trace around that and then cut it out. Now I used my paper cutter to get this out because I wanted a really nice solid cut, so it was straight. But you can do this with a X-Acto knife and ruler, or if you're really good with scissors, cutting it out. But for me, I just wanted to make sure it was a perfect cut. And now I'm going to attach my thin piece of cardboard to my backing, and then I will attach that back into the frame. And now I will repeat those steps for my second frame. And now it's time to cover these frames in paint. Once again, I used chalk paint in linen white. I ordered this paint from Amazon and it has lasted me for a lot of projects. So a big old can of this is highly recommended. You're just gonna put this on generously on all parts of the frame except you can do the bottom if you like. And it took me 2 coats to get these to the coverage that I wanted. And then of course I'm covering my candlestick. Once my frames and candlestick are dry, I am now going to distress the whole project. And so I take a little bit of black paint and I use a dry brush and I get just a small amount on my brush and then I start lightly wiping it onto my frame. Now you're going to notice that this is kind of a long little segment because I wanted you to really see how slow that I do it, because I use a very light hand because you can always add more. And it's a little harder to fix it if you add too much, which you just can paint right over with the white. So again, I'm just lightly running my brush across with the black. And if you'd like to fast forward to the end of this process, then you can fast forward it to 1726. All right, so if you're still with me here, the other technique I use is I flipped my paintbrush over and I got some paint on the edge. And that's because I was wanting to get some spots a little darker, like more of like a glob look, if that's a technical term. Because with the brush, I just wasn't getting some of the darker streaks that I wanted. Okay, now that I'm happy with all of my distressing, it's time to piece it all together. So I'm going to take the largest picture frame and I'm just kind of trying to find the center so I will know where to glue my candlestick. Okay, so now I'm going to add my E6000 glue to the bottom of my candlestick. You can use just hot glue, but it's not going to be as sturdy. And since you're going to be adding items on the top tier, it's best to make this really sturdy. So I'm using the E6000, and then I'm also going to use hot glue just because it helps keep it in place while it's drying. Now I'm adhering the top tier to this tray. And I'm going to, you'll see here, I'm going to even it up a little as it's crooked at first. There we go. And I just kind of, I take my ruler and just kind of checking to see if it looks like it's even. And that's it. This beautiful tier tray is done. You should wait a day until you decorate it because you want to make sure your glue has dried properly. But I just think this tray turned out so good and looks so high end. And in the next frame, you're going to get to see how I decorated it. I hope you'll like and subscribe and join me next time.